Hello, church. Pastor Jacob here for this week's midweek devotional. At the moment, I am standing in our fellowship hall, and you can see behind me that at the moment we're set up for a funeral reception for Friday. But just earlier this morning, it was set up for pickleball. Now, what does pickleball and a midweek devotion have to do with each other? Well, you know this guy, John Wesley? I think some of you might have heard of him. He talked about these things that he calls means of grace, or ways in which we encounter God's grace. He talked about means of grace in two primary categories of activities, works of piety and works of mercy. Things of piety would be things like Bible study, prayer, communion, worship, the singing of songs, and works of mercy were things that you would think of in terms of like serving other people, or those things that are listed in Matthew 25 of the things that you can do for the least of these. But one of the things that's often very quickly overlooked in Wesley's means of grace is personal wellness. Have you ever thought about personal wellness as a means of grace, as a way of encountering God's grace, experiencing that feeling of being connected to God? If you have, then you're probably not surprised. If you haven't, maybe you ought to give it a try. But I have a couple questions for you this morning, and that is, first, what is your favorite means of grace? What's your favorite way of encountering God's grace? Second, in terms of physical wellness, what's your favorite way to tend to the body that God has given you? Getting your blood flowing, getting your heart rate up in good and healthy ways and intentional ways. Some people call it exercise, I think, but we don't often like the word exercise. What's your favorite way of exercising? And when you do so, do you intentionally hope to encounter God's grace? And last but not least, have you considered coming to play pickleball? There's a group that comes up here most Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, sometime between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. There are people up here. If you've never played, like I had never played, they're willing and glad to teach. If you have played before, come on and play. And when you do so, come expecting to encounter God's grace through the means of personal wellness. Here's a short clip from some people playing this morning so you can see that this isn't always set up with tables and chairs. God bless.